Hey all, welcome back to the channel, and I hope that life is going splendidly for you. And today we're going to focus on the master of now you see him, now you don't, when we take a look at this guy. It is the new, to my surprise, these guys arrived in my area, but this is the new deluxe class Transformers Siege Mirage. And he's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. I'm so glad that you're here. Please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you're at it, man, that's right, hit that notification bell because it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Everything from stop motions to tutorials to reviews like these. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors NL, and the Autobot family, and me everywhere across social media. And this is indeed the new Siege Mirage, and I like them a lot. I never had the classics, so I really can't do a comparison to that. I've never handled the classics, though I do know that for a long time he has been like the standard bearer for a representation of Mirage. I do have the Combiner Wars, and we'll look at that a little bit later. But I'm pretty sure that we have a replacement here, because he is quite good. Although, to be fair, there's a couple of things that we saw on the renders for this guy that did not translate into the actual figure. I kind of wish that they did, but nevertheless, I think he's a very strong offering. Anyway, without any further ado though, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And I've got to admit, ever since the fan vote thing, I've been really excited about the prospect of getting an upgraded, updated, whatever you want to call it, Mirage. Though I have the Combiner Wars one, I knew that there was room for improvement. And I thought that that was a great figure, but I knew that there was definitely room for improvement. As I've said, I don't have any experience with the Classics one. So those of you who do have experience with that mold, compare it here and kind of, you know, see for yourself. We're going to begin as we always do and take a quick look at this packaging to start us off. And the packaging is dandy. It's your typical Siege packaging, with one exception. Over here, it's noted that this is one of the fan vote winners, which I find so strange that we're getting him now as a fan vote winner, but then there's that hollow version that's also in the 3-pack. I don't know. But I do know that this is beautiful artwork of Mirage over on this side. Typical Siege on that side. On the back, as you would well expect, we have our, I guess, typical like images. And there's a couple of points here that I actually prefer, but we'll talk about them when we get to the paint apps. We got ourselves some pretty great Siege instructions yet again. I love what they're doing here, but we have, and I mentioned this when I looked at Barricade, we have another oddity with this wave. Now this is my favorite page, the stats page, but up here all I can tell you is his regular blaster is quite strong with good range and good accuracy, but I can't tell you what it's called because it's written in cybertronian. Down here also written in cybertronian is the combined mode thing that he's holding in his other hand, but really it belongs on his shoulder. It too is extremely powerful. I mean, for a guy who like doesn't tend to kind of get into the fray of things a whole lot, his accessories are extremely powerful. Again, written in cybertronian. And if you just talk about the thing that goes on his shoulder without the like missile part attached to it, it's called something, but again it's written in, you guessed it, cybertronian. Peculiar. Let me know if you guys have experienced cybertronian on your packaging, because it seems odd to me. Speaking of those accessories, here's that gray blaster. This is the one he holds in his hand. It looks great. I love the molding on this thing. And the other accessory, or set of accessories, is this black piece and this gray missile piece. They both have pegs down on the bottom. There's a peg here on the back as well. This can come apart. This piece can pull out, so it's two separate pieces, though I don't see it really depicted anywhere separate. This can go in his hand or, of course, on his shoulder. And bear with me for a moment, if you will, before we dive into things. I love that head sculpt. I think it is quintessentially Mirage. And here we have Mirage in his glory. I love the blue that's used on him, the shade of blue. I love the white. It's done very well. The red is spot on. Now, on the back of the packaging where they have the stock photography, a couple of things are done there that I wish were done here. The blue down on his legs is, it looks like anyway in the stock photography that is more of like an opaque blue, like a solid blue rather than a translucent blue. I wish they had gone with the solid blue. The, I guess, driver's seat section looks a little bit different in race car mode. I prefer it. And the forearms on the packaging images are white instead of gray. I wish that the forearms were white. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers, and while I would have liked that, I don't know, I guess they had extra gray plastic kicking around and said, hey, let's use that now. The only other Mirage I can really compare him to is my custom, and I've used this guy in Universal Collision, by the way, but my custom Combiner Wars Mirage. The blue is much lighter. This same mold was used as part of like a Unite Warrior set, I think, and it had a darker blue. It looked better in Unite Warriors than it does here. So I said originally that the Combiner Wars Mirage for looks was a 9. I was being generous, probably because I was still kind of gloating a bit over, or glowing I should say, a bit over the custom work I had done that I was proud of at the time. Looking at it now, some of it makes me cringe a little bit. I still think that it was a decent Mirage. Overall, he was about an 8 for looks, and I think the new one is about a 9.5. It'd be nice if there were a couple of things changed on the new one, but he's definitely the stronger Mirage. No doubt about it in robot mode. The couple of things that I'd like to see changed on him, it would be very nice to have the white arms like I said, and it would be nice if the arm flaps, I suppose. I get why they're silver, but I also know that by rights they should be blue with some writing on them. Originally they were like part of the side of the car, now they're the spoiler basically. So I get why they are what they are, and having them on the arms at least is kind of correct. But I almost wish that was blue. Small nitpick, which is why the guy's still getting like a 9.5. Definitely a 9, but I'm going to say 9.5. I think it's pretty close on a perfect looking Mirage. In terms of articulation, I said that the Combiner Wars one was a 9. I thought it was well articulated, and it was, for the time, well articulated. This guy is even better. Naturally, he has ports on his like shoulders. I don't know if there's any on his legs. There might be one there. There's one on the bottom of his feet. You could put some weaponizer parts on this guy, not as many as some of the other figures in the line. But when it comes to articulation, the head, it can go, see if I can show this. It can go left and it can go right. It can look down a bit, but it doesn't really look up. The arms can go all the way around, well out to the side, bicep swivel. The hands can go in, no wrist rotation, elbow to 90 degrees. We have a waist, we have legs that can go well out to the sides. They can go well forward, well back. Thigh swivel built inside the thigh. I like that, it's clever. 90 degree at the knee, and we have a little bit of ankle tilt. A nice clean back, really. Like, I love how everything folds in right there. Some people have complained about these tires down here, but they don't bother me, actually. I don't find them obtrusive like some people find them. I said that the Combiner Wars was a 9. This one has one added point of articulation, that being the ankle tilt. It's a 9.5. So far, as with the Combiner Wars, was a good figure, and it was getting a 9. This guy is getting a 9.5. What about his transformation? Well, his transformation begins with us removing his accessories. And we'll lay them to the side. We'll put them back in a moment when we get him converted. For that conversion, it's probably best if we start with the upper body. And I totally dig this. So you can kind of unpeg and unfurl the upper body. You can bring forward the, let's see if I can do it this way, the arms. So they're just brought forward. You can fold in the hands and bend the elbows. Fold in the hands, bend the elbows. The head, oh I'm sorry, the two tires that were in his back, they flip out on the side from the back and his head flips into the body. Then we will bring up this arm and bring up this arm. The two arms, they're going to peg together, and then the two spoiler pieces are going to peg together. So we take the two arms and we peg them together, and then we peg the two spoiler pieces together. Very simple, very easy, and that is really the rear end of the car done. As a matter of fact, we can really kind of turn it around like this. His false chest that a lot of people have complained about is going to be the back end of the car. I don't really notice it once he's converted. Had these forearms been white, up here now where this like engine block, I guess, exhaust, or not exhaust, I guess air intake section would be, this would be white. I would have been okay with that. Had these been painted blue with some words on them, then his spoiler wouldn't be silver, it would be blue. I know that silver's probably correct. But that's it. Right now we just sort of leave this free-flowing at the moment because we need to deal with the lower legs. And the lower legs are, I'm not going to say they're a nuisance, but I find that I need to almost like partially have them transformed first before I know how to sort of orient everything. So I always begin by sort of picking off the shin there, the blue shin, and then I take the whole leg and I turn it like this. Then I take the tire from behind and I flip it all the way to the outside. That has the leg oriented. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to pick off the shin. I'm going to rotate the leg. And I'm going to take the tire piece and fold it all the way to the outside. And now I should be able to put these two car pieces together. And here's the thing, they don't snap together. There's, see if I can show it on this side, there's a little peg here and a little peg here, and they slide up into the slots here. So we take that and they should, if we line everything up correctly, they should slide into position like that. Then we can take these blue pieces and fold up the toes and fold up the toes and bring these blue pieces into the middle where they too will peg into each other. And then we have a little blue tab here and a little blue tab here on the translucent plastic. And there have been instances that I've heard of where these tabs are a little bit too big to fit into the two holes, which are just up right here and right here. They're kind of above these 5mm circular ports. There's a little rectangular port there and a little rectangular port there. Sometimes these translucent pegs are a little bit too big, won't fit in there. I've heard of them breaking. Be careful with yours. We take this whole piece, we fold it down by rights. Make sure that's all in. We collapse it in, and boom, in the end here we have Mirage in his vehicle mode. I cannot and will not pretend that I don't think this is fantastic, even if I wish that this kind of cockpit section here was differentiated with maybe silver and the rest of this blue was opaque, but still it's a great looking race car. It is, however, stylized. It does not look like his G1 race car version. It looks more like the Classics race car version. I think this is a Formula 1 race car, I believe. You just take his blaster and put it there, and you take the other one and you put it over there. And that's the storage for it, which is a little bit unfortunate, admittedly. And it only seems right that we show him with his Combiner Wars version, though I need to back things up slightly. I feel like the robot mode is way better than the Combiner Wars, but I do feel like the Combiner Wars race car might be a little more reminiscent of the G1 race car. All in all, it's a gorgeous Mirage who rolls very well. The transformation is pretty easy. I don't have any issues. I'm going to say it is also a 9.5. If the Combiner Wars overall is about a 9 for being a figure, then this is a 9.5. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn close. Is he guilty or innocent of the recent price hike for the Siege line? Well, as the end of the year approaches us and we wind down with Siege and we're getting ready to move on to Earthrise, I've almost amassed all of the information that I wanted during this past year for a little something that I'm going to want to talk about toward the end of the year. Is he guilty or innocent? Well, of course, we're going to go to our quintessence judges. But I can say this. In terms of mass, the Combiner Wars 1 clocks in at 81 grams. While our new boy here is only clocking in at 75 grams. So my dear quintessence judges, for as excellent as he is, when we talk about if he's guilty or innocent, how say you? Guilty. And there you have it, a tremendous figure, but much like we have recently seen with Barricade and Sideswipe and Red Alert and Prowl and Reflector and upcoming with Cliff Jumper, this is less plastic, smaller mass for a higher price point. If you're cool with that, great, but know what it is you're buying, know what it is you're getting into, and know what it is you're paying for. Yes, it's smaller, it's less, and that's why he's guilty, but the argument can also be made that he is close on perfect, and maybe, just maybe, that is justification enough. And here we are once again, and here he is. What's not to like, man? Okay, admittedly, these pieces on the side, you know, they're stylized with a lot of silver here. They really should have blue with writing, because actually they're supposed to be like part of the side of the car thing. Yes, this is a false chest, and I get it. A lot of people are complaining and going to say, like, I don't like that hanging out on the back. I dig it because I honestly, I don't notice it. I'm not that invested in a race car to notice it, I don't think. Plus, it helps the silhouette of them, so I forgive it for that. I love how clever the legs are. Though, admittedly, there's a couple of hinges that are on the clear plastic, and I wonder about the longevity of them. I really do think it would have been nice if we had, like, the blue opaque, as was shown on the renders for this guy. As well as the forearms being white. I really wish that they had been white, but I can accept gray, even though the whole arm there should kind of be white. This is very close to what I would want for a Mirage. I like, even on the back, the way things clean up. Yes, you have these pieces kind of stuck out down on the back of his legs, but it's not too egregious. It's a leg backpack? I don't know. But it's not too egregious, and it really doesn't affect his articulation. The transformation is clever. He even got his like blaster thing on his shoulder, and the missile can come out of it. He has, you know, a peg on his back. I love the way the tires go in. I love the articulation. I love the look, and I love the conversion. But the only thing that's strange for this guy is I still don't know why his stats are in cybertronian, and I haven't heard of anybody else saying that they're in cybertronian, though perhaps I've just missed it, and it's a very common thing. I love this guy. I think he's a fantastic version of Mirage, perhaps, arguably, because I can't speak for the 2006 version, but arguably, I think he might be the best Mirage we've ever gotten in the main line. Let me know what you think about this guy. You know I love to hear from you guys. I always appreciate when you come by and give me some of your extremely valuable time. I know how important it is to you. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Stick around, have some fun with us. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, there's a link for donations down in the description. And please, most importantly, don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every day you do make a difference. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams, at the stop motion premieres, or right here, man, inside the videos.